And right now at 5, taking a gamble with your health when visitors come to Nevada for the holidays. So why we're on some naughty lists this year.
Plus, why one of the main characters on General Hospital is getting discharged against his wishes. The actor explains why.
And Santa trades his big belly for a six-pack, so who will be leading this year's Great Santa Run? Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Todd Quinones.
And I'm Tricia Keane. 13 Action News, live at 5, starts right now.
Now, 13 Action News at 5, on air and streaming live.
Well, it turns out that it'll be more expensive to fill your plate this Thanksgiving. Prices, they are taking a real jump this year.
That's right. 13 Action News reporter Jeremy Chen joining us now live with a look at how shoppers and retailers are prepping for the big day. Jeremy.
Yeah, Todd and Tricia, many people are either in their living rooms or their kitchen trying to do some research and figure out how much their Thanksgiving meal will be. We took a look at some turkey prices, and here at La Bonita, a marinated stuffed whole turkey is $50 if you don't want to do a lot of prep. Now over here at Whole Foods for Prime members, a regular turkey costs $1.99 a pound. Let's move over here to Smith's. In their ad, their turkey costs 69 cents. Not a bad deal for a whole turkey if you're looking for one. Whereas here in Albertsons, well, you're not going to find the price, but you'll find that they'll actually price match anything at Smith's. Now, this kind of comparison is probably the best way to make sure you stay within your budget for your holiday meal. Shoppers are grabbing last-minute items for their Thanksgiving meals at Sprouts Farmers Market.
For the most part, people are still coming in pretty happy because we're trying to get something in their cart. No matter what, they're going to walk away happy.
There's still plenty of turkey left, and this comes despite inventory challenges in the meat department due to supply chain issues.
The variety of meats of everything from beef to chicken to pork, it's all had issues. Whole chickens are a popular item this time of the year. Some people like to substitute that for a turkey.
The issues are also playing a part in people spending more, with shoppers at grocery stores like Smith's and Albertsons feeling the pinch.
At least $50 to $75 more.
Probably at least $100 to $150 more.
The American Farm Bureau Federation says an average Thanksgiving meal for 10 people now stands at $53.31. That's up 14% from last year. An average turkey at about $1.50 a pound, up 24%. The Bureau says this rise has a number of factors, including the pandemic shifting more people to eat at home.
Based on whether or not a food is destined for a retail shelf or whether it's due to or destined for food service. So that's taken some time to shift over and is adding to the increase in cost.
The Farm Bureau suggests some store hopping can help keep costs within budgets.
If you have multiple retailers to choose from, maybe go online and check their ads in advance to see what prices they're offering for different items.
That's exactly what this shopper at Smith's did, saving about $100.
Hop, store to store. Don't just stick to one store.
Now, the workers at Sprouts tell me if you want to guarantee a turkey or some meats, make sure you pre-order it, especially before the next big holiday, Christmas. Jeremy Chen, 13 Action News.
And it isn't just prices you need to worry about. Local firefighters are once again showing just how dangerous cooking can be. This is what happens if you don't thaw your turkey before putting it in a deep fryer right here. If you're using this method, it is important to thaw and dry your turkey completely. The city says cooking is the leading cause of fires and fire-related injuries in Las Vegas. According to the U.S. Fire Administration, an estimated 2,000 Thanksgiving fires are reported in residential buildings every year, and they cause an average of 5 deaths, 25 injuries, and $21 million in property loss.
For people hitting the road this holiday, experts say that it is best to avoid areas with high rates of COVID-19. And a new study lists Nevada as one of those areas. 13 Action News reporter Alyssa Bethencourt talked with some health experts.
Well, if you're staying here or traveling to places like Arizona or Colorado, you might want to think again. This is coming directly from experts who say those states have some of the highest rates of community transmission. Here in the state of Nevada specifically, a study done by Quote Wizard shows there's a shortage of healthcare workers, about 2 per 1,000 people, and there's also a shortage of ICU beds, which right now is causing the greatest amount of concern.
What really jumped out at us about Nevada is that 83% of hospital ICU beds are currently in use. That is a high number nationwide.
Now, health experts say if you're vaccinated or not, it's a good idea to steer clear of places with high infection rates. They say the more you're in contact with the coronavirus, especially the highly contagious Delta variant, the higher the chance there could be an infection.
But it's not surprising that after the holidays, when a lot of people travel and a lot of people come together that normally don't, we might see an increase in disease. So it's entirely possible. We hope that doesn't happen, but that's something you could see over the next few weeks with Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Now, according to doctors, they say if you're going to a place with a high infection rate, it's best to mask up whether you're vaccinated or not. You can also take some additional safety measures by socially distancing or even testing a few days before you get together for Thanksgiving. Alyssa, Bethencourt, 13 Action News.
Well, a woman is arrested at McCarran Airport after she refused to wear a mask and was heard shouting, "Let's go, Brandon." According to court documents, Katrina Alspaugh got into an argument with another passenger who confronted her about not wearing a mask while going through security. Later, she was kicked off her Allegiant flight again for not wearing a mask, and police say she wouldn't cooperate and was creating a disturbance, which is against the law. They say she was shouting curse words and political chants while being wheeled out of the airport.
But tonight, an 8-year-old boy is now the latest victim in that Wisconsin Christmas parade tragedy. The death toll now rising to 6 as we now get a new look at the man police say is responsible. With 39-year-old Darrell Brooks is now charged with 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. The 6th count for the latest victim is now pending. In the meantime, prosecutors they are considering more charges for the dozens of people injured when police say Brooks rammed his car into a holiday parade over the weekend.
I'll tell you this, we actually had a squad and barricades up, and he drove right through the barricades and the officers.
But multiple vigils now are taking place to honor the victims. Also, just 21 days ago, Brooks was arrested for using what appears to be the same red SUV to allegedly run over the mother of his child. He was released then on Friday on a $1,000 bond. The Milwaukee County DA saying that bail recommendation was, quote, inappropriately low.
The fate of the 3 white men accused of killing unarmed black man Ahmaud Arbery is now in the hands of a jury. The defense argues the men were trying to make a citizen's arrest under a now repealed Georgia citizen's arrest law. The defense calling Arbery a recurring intruder, even though he was never seen stealing anything. The prosecution claims the 3 men were the aggressors. Well, one after the other, insiders at the Animal Foundation in Las Vegas are coming forward to 13 Action News claiming the shelter is putting pets in peril. The words we keep hearing are overcrowded, understaffed, and unsanitary.
And so tonight, as we now continue our investigation into the Animal Foundation, you got to keep 2 things in mind. 1, your tax dollars, they pay for this. And 2, this is also likely the place that your pet would end up if it ever does get lost. With 13 Action News, Chief Investigator Darcy Spears now gives us an exclusive look inside the shelter in crisis.
At no time in my 26-year career have more people come forward to blow the whistle on their employer. We spoke to 17 current and now former Animal Foundation employees at every level: veterinarians and vet techs, admissions, intake, workers, managers, and supervisors. All of them came forward to 13 Investigates after claiming their concerns kept falling on deaf ears about a shelter in crisis.
It's sad. I didn't want it to come to this. I mean, I really enjoyed my job at the Animal Foundation.
Everything that's happened recently has been preventable and not acceptable.
Whether lost, stray, or turned in by their owners, the dogs, cats, and other creatures at the Animal Foundation probably want out. Many workers now feel the same way.
When I first started there, I was impressed. And by the time I left, I was disgusted.
People like Liz Wade, a licensed veterinary technician, are leaving because they say management at the Animal Foundation won't heed warnings about a shelter spiraling out of control.
Acknowledgement, yes. Action, no.
The Animal Foundation is the contracted municipal shelter for the city, county, and North Las Vegas, taking in an average of 25,000 animals a year.
We're the highest volume single intake shelter in the country, and it's just, it's too much.
Dr. Mindy Roberts has been a relief veterinarian off and on for 20 years at the Animal Foundation. Are you able to be appropriately responsive to the conditions of all the animals in there in need of care?
No, there's too many.
These animals depend on us, and as a shelter, we should be providing them with the basic necessities: clean food, clean water, and a clean shelter. And at this point, the Animal Foundation is not even able to provide those three things consistently.
The employees you've heard from so far were all still working at the Animal Foundation when we started investigating this past summer. They documented conditions in photos, internal records, and videos shared with 13 Investigates. They all quit in frustration over the last 2 months, saying they couldn't stand to see the animals suffer anymore and needed to go somewhere they felt they could make a difference. You've documented your concerns to management more than once.
Absolutely, yes. I have sent pictures of black mold I found in a cat's kennel, roaches, maggots in the chickens outside, fly infestations in the rabbit bungalows, just dirty kennels in general, animals that haven't had food or water in over 24 hours.
An animal care manager who resigned in September wrote to leadership about a toxic work environment, lack of training, overwhelming animal death, and overworked staff. These schedules we obtained show one person was often responsible for cleaning, feeding, and caring for about 100 animals a day. These former employees offered 13 Investigates specifics, including one case that spawned an ongoing investigation by Metro Police. We'll take you deeper inside the crisis at the Animal Foundation as my investigation continues on 13 Action News at 6. Darcy Spears, 13 Investigates.
Turning to some holiday fun, some sexy Santas are leading the way for an annual Las Vegas Christmas event. Opportunity Village announces that Chippendales will be the grand marshals for the 2021 Las Vegas Great Santa Run. Opportunity Village says the Chippendales have been a staple at their events for nearly a decade, and some of the dancers will serve as the face of this year's charity event. Thousands of people all dressed up as Santa will run a mile or a 5K. It's all to raise money and help people with disabilities find employment and lead more fulfilling lives.
Still ahead, reducing pain at the pump, while President Biden lifts the lid on our oil reserves, so how this could lower gas prices. But it comes with some limitations.
Plus, it's getting harder to find live Christmas trees. What's behind the shortage and why it will likely be felt next year as well. And
well, I know there's been a lot of rumors and speculations about me in General Hospital, and I wanted you to hear it from me personally.
After more than 3 decades on General Hospital, Steve Burton is fired over vaccine mandates. Why he isn't giving up on the show just yet. Dani.
Beautiful today, but big changes are on the way. Tomorrow, wind speeds are up, temperatures are down, and that leads us into a chilly start to Thanksgiving. I'll have the full forecast for you coming up.
Well, after spending 3 decades on General Hospital, actor Steve Burton is no longer on the show. He was fired for refusing to get vaccinated. Burton has played the role of Jason Morgan since 1991. In an Instagram video, Burton says he's grateful for his time on General Hospital, having grown up on the show, but says his requests for medical and religious exemptions were denied.
Hurts, but this is also about personal freedom. To me, I don't think anybody should lose their livelihood over this. But with that being said, you know me, I'll always be grateful for my time at General Hospital.
And Burton went on to say that he's open to returning to the show if the vaccine mandates are lifted.
Lower prices may soon be coming to a pump near you. President Joe Biden is set to release millions of barrels of oil from the National Reserve to combat high gas prices.
Isabel Rosales is in Washington explaining the plan to give temporary help and its limitations.
Mounting pressure to lower rising gas prices.
I think they're ridiculous. They keep going up and there seems to be no end to it.
President Joe Biden now giving the okay to lift the lid on an emergency stockpile of oil.
While our combined actions will not solve the problem of high gas prices overnight, it will make a difference.
In the thick of the busy holiday travel season, the White House says the Department of Energy will release 50 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
That's the amount that we think would be useful to help middle-class consumers get through this period of elevated prices.
China, India, Japan, South Korea, and the United Kingdom will conduct a coordinated release along with the U.S. Americans paying on average $3.40 per gallon, according to AAA. It's aggravating the biggest inflation spike in decades.
750,000 people in Kentucky depend on natural gas or propane to heat their homes. It's a choice, in some cases, between putting food on the table and staying warm.
But it will take weeks before barrels hit the market. While the president was privately advised that tapping into the reserve wouldn't do much to alleviate the current problems, some lawmakers argue it's a start.
I don't think it can hurt.
The move may be largely symbolic, showing nations reluctant to ramp up oil production. The U.S. is serious about taking action. In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
And if you're making last-minute plans to travel for the holiday season, stay with us for 13 Action News Live at 6 o'clock tonight. Our own Ross DiMattei will break down the most affordable ways to travel to some nearby destinations.
Christmas tree growers, they are warning the supply right now is low. Oregon is the #1 producer of Christmas trees, but the state suffered record-setting heat this summer, which killed more than 10% of its Christmas tree population. It takes about 8 to 10 years to grow a tree, so the shortage may go into next year as well.
Getting a check on the weather. It's cool outside, but it's not as cold as it really could be.
and it's not as cold as it will be, Tricia and Todd. By the time you wake up on Thursday morning on Thanksgiving, some spots in the valley could be in the 30s. It is going to get really cold really quickly, but that will just make you appreciate the mild weather that we have ahead again this weekend even more. Today, nice. 69 was the high at McCarran. We saw a lot of sunshine this afternoon, and the breeze not all that noticeable. But these numbers are increasing as temperatures decrease even by tomorrow. Gusts in the Colorado River Valley up to about 40 miles per hour. So this area shaded here, including the Lake Mead Recreation Area, under a wind advisory for tomorrow. And although the Las Vegas Valley isn't under the wind advisory, still going to be a breezy day. And this wind and the cooler temperatures brought in by this cold front that's also clearing the cloud cover. So we woke up to a few clouds. Those are long gone, and the colder, drier air filters in behind the front. That means sunny skies sticking around heading into the weekend, but we do have a couple days with colder temperatures and with breezier wind. Overnight into tomorrow morning, a light breeze, and by the time you wake up to start your Wednesday, you'll notice the wind, especially for the Colorado River Valley, where we expect gusts to exceed 30 miles per hour for most of the day. Here in the Las Vegas area, gust speeds right around 25 or 30 miles per hour, so it's a noticeably windy day, but not quite to that threshold that prompts the wind advisory like what we're seeing for places like Laughlin and through Boulder City. This is tomorrow night. You see 10, 11 p.m. and our gusts are still approaching 40 miles per hour. So downright windy Wednesday. Moving into Thanksgiving on Thursday, we'll still have a noticeable breeze, just not quite as intense. This is Thursday evening, and you see gusts are finally dropping below 25 miles per hour in Laughlin. So some windy weather ahead of us, some cool temperatures as well. But for tonight, still pretty calm and still pretty comfortable. 60s hold approaching dinner time by 8 p.m. We're in the upper 50s, and our overnight lows eventually fall to the 40s. I know this looks cold, but low temperatures on Thursday night will drop another 5 degrees from tomorrow morning, so it is time to break out the heavier jackets, especially in the morning. Highs tomorrow afternoon, 5 to 10 degrees colder than where we landed today. That puts us in the low 60s for most of the Las Vegas Valley. So we fell from 6 or 7 above normal to a couple degrees below normal Wednesday and Thursday for Thanksgiving. But check out those lows. That's really the weather headline moving into Thursday. We'll wake up to upper 30s, low 40s with highs just in the low 60s. We will warm back up heading into the weekend, back to 70 by Sunday.
Yeah, you'll definitely feel those lows for sure. Well, trucks to fight fires and the holiday blues.
Coming up, some local firefighters, they're working to make sure all kids in the valley can have a Merry Christmas. So how you can join their cause.
Some local politicians are out in the community just before Thanksgiving. Representative Dina Titus and County Commissioner Tick Segerbloom were on hand at a pop-up food pantry at the Winchester Cultural Center on McLeod. The Culinary Academy also helped with the donations. Volunteers gave out Thanksgiving dinners and 40-pound boxes of food. And the county says over the next 2 days, they will distribute 1,200 dinners right here in Las Vegas. Well, the Clark County Fire Department is once again trying to fill the fire truck for the 20th year in a row. They're working with the firefighters of Southern Nevada Burn Foundation to gather gifts for underserved kids. Right now, you can make a donation at any of the Clark County Fire Departments. You will also start seeing trucks outside of some Walmarts starting on December 3rd. Dani.
Whole lot of sunshine ahead tomorrow, but the wind will be noticeable. And with that drop in temperature and the gusty wind, I think it'll feel especially chilly. We wake up to 40s, highs capped in the low 60s under a sunny sky. In Las Vegas, gusts near 30, but for the Colorado River Valley, where a wind advisory goes into effect tomorrow, gust speeds could be up to 40 miles per hour. The gust speeds will weaken heading into Thursday with just a light breeze, but check out those morning lows. We have a cold few mornings ahead of us, that's for sure. Warming back up into the weekend. Highs climb near 70 by Sunday, but staying in the low 60s through Thanksgiving.
Looks good. All right, Dani, thank you. Coming up later in tonight's ABC Primetime lineup at 8 o'clock, it is The Bachelorette. That is followed up by Queens at 10. Then stay with us for 13 Action News Live at 11.
And that is our news for now. ABC's World News Tonight is coming up next.
Remember, we're always on at KTNV.com, our mobile app, and also your favorite streaming device. We'll see you back here in 30 minutes for 13 Action News Live at 6.